Worry steals your future while you guard a past that already disappeared. Right now, you stand at the edge of everything you want, but you can't see it. Why? You're staring at shadows, fighting battles that exist only in your mind, running from dangers that haven't even noticed you, building walls against threats that may never arrive. And while you do this, you lock yourself inside while opportunity waits outside. 2026 already started. It's moving, creating openings for people brave enough to walk through them. But you're frozen, stuck under the weight of what-ifs that multiply like weeds nobody tends to. If this already hit home, smash that like button right now. Want to know how to break free from anxiety and step into the best year of your life? Stay until the end, because I'm revealing the ancient practice that changes everything. The ancient Stoics understood something we forgot in our age of constant anxiety. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Think about water for a moment. When you clench your fist around it, water escapes through your fingers. But when you open your palm, it rests there, still, perfectly yours. Your life works the same way. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. The more you worry, the more you block the natural flow of solutions, opportunities, and breakthroughs trying to reach you. This goes beyond positive thinking or pretending problems don't exist. This goes deeper. The ancient philosophers practiced daily the art of distinguishing what deserves your energy and what deserves your release. Most of what you worry about exists only in the prison of your mind, and you hold both roles. You're the prisoner and the one with the key. 2026 waits like a blank canvas, ready for your first bold stroke. But worry keeps your brush hovering, trembling, afraid to make a mark. Time doesn't pause for your anxiety. It moves forward with or without you. Every moment you spend frozen in fear could have been spent building something beautiful. The universe doesn't reward your worry with safety. It rewards your courage with possibility. It responds to movement, not paralysis, to presence, not projection, to faith, not fretting. Right now, while you hear these words, you face a choice. Stay trapped in the loop of anxiety or break free into the flow of life. Comment, "I release control," if you've been gripping too tight. I read every single comment, and I want to know your truth. Epictetus said, "Make the best use of what is in your power, and take the rest as it happens." This simple statement contains the entire blueprint for a worry-free life. But most people miss the distinction he's making. Concern is productive. Worry is parasitic. Concern says, "There's a challenge ahead. Let me prepare." Worry says, "There's a challenge ahead. Let me panic." Concern mobilizes you. Worry paralyzes you. Concern lives in the present and plans for the future. Worry lives in the future and destroys the present. Learning to tell the difference? That's the foundation of everything about to work out for you in 2026. When you're concerned about your finances, you create a budget. You look for additional income streams. You educate yourself about money. You take action. When you worry about your finances, you lie awake at 3 a.m. calculating disaster scenarios. You avoid checking your bank account. You feel sick every time a bill arrives. You take no action. Or worse, you take fearful action that makes things worse. The ancient philosophers weren't telling you to stop caring. They were teaching you to care effectively. There's a world of difference between caring about your health and worrying yourself sick about every symptom, between caring about your relationships and obsessing over every delayed text message, between caring about your career and catastrophizing every setback into permanent failure. What happens when you operate from concern instead of worry? You solve problems. Novel concept, right? But think about it. How many problems have you solved while worrying?
How many situations improved because you spent hours imagining worst-case scenarios? The answer is 0. Worry has never written your resume, healed your relationship, improved your health, or increased your bank account. Most useless expenditure of human energy ever invented. But concern gets things done. Concern is your friend showing up with solutions. Worry is your enemy showing up with suffering.
In 2026, practice this distinction every single day. When anxiety rises, pause and ask, is this concern prompting me toward action, or is this worry keeping me in reaction? If concern, you act. If worry, you release it. The Stoics had a practice called the dichotomy of control. They divided everything into 2 categories, things within your control and things outside your control. Your effort, within your control. The outcome, outside your control. Your preparation, within your control. Other people's responses, outside your control. Your attitude, within your control. The economy, the weather, the past, all outside your control. What changes when you internalize this? Everything. You stop wasting energy on the immovable and invest it in the changeable. You stop arguing with reality and start working with it. You stop being a victim of circumstance and start being an architect of response. If you haven't subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? I post wisdom like this every single week. You don't want to miss what's coming next. Hit that subscribe button right now. Lao Tzu observed something most people spend their entire lives fighting against. Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them. That only creates sorrow. Let reality be reality. Let things flow naturally forward in whatever way they like. You want guarantees. You want to know how everything will turn out before you take the first step. You want the entire staircase illuminated before you move your foot. But life never worked that way. The only people who have certainty are people who stopped living, stopped growing, stopped evolving. Everyone else, we're all walking into fog. And the ones who thrive made peace with not seeing the entire path. Nobody tells you this about uncertainty. It's neutral, not good or bad, not threatening or promising. It exists. But your relationship with it, that determines everything.
When you treat uncertainty as an enemy, every unknown becomes a source of anxiety. When you treat uncertainty as a companion, every unknown becomes a source of possibility. Same uncertainty, different experience. The only thing that changed was your perspective. In 2026, everything you want is hiding in uncertainty. That career breakthrough? Uncertain. That relationship healing? Uncertain. That creative project succeeding? Uncertain. That financial turnaround? Uncertain. You can either let that uncertainty stop you, or you can let it fuel you. Uncertainty means anything is possible, including the miracle you've been praying for. Think about every major positive change in your life, your best friendships, your proudest accomplishments, your most beautiful memories. Did any of them come with guarantees? Did you know for certain they would work out before they happened? Of course not. You stepped into uncertainty, and uncertainty gave you gifts you never could have planned. But somewhere along the way, you forgot this. You started believing uncertainty was your enemy when it's been your greatest ally all along. The Buddhists have a concept called beginner's mind, approaching each moment fresh without the burden of needing to know what comes next. When you have beginner's mind, you're curious instead of anxious. You're open instead of closed. You're exploring instead of controlling.
And when you stop needing to control outcomes, outcomes start aligning in your favor. Not because you manipulated them, but because you got out of their way. Your worry about the future? That's arrogance in disguise. Stay with me here. When you worry, you're saying, I know this will turn out badly. But how do you know? What evidence do you have about something that hasn't happened yet? You're predicting the future based on the past, projecting old pain onto new possibilities, calling it realism when it's fear wearing a logical mask. Comment, I embrace uncertainty if you're ready to step into the unknown. I want to see those comments flooding in. Seneca said something that might sting. We suffer more often in imagination than in reality. Most of your suffering isn't happening to you. You're doing it to yourself. You're creating elaborate disaster scenarios in your mind and then emotionally living through them as if they're real. You're experiencing trauma from events that haven't occurred and may never occur. You're grieving losses that haven't happened.
You're fighting battles that exist nowhere except in your thoughts.
This is what worry means. A horror movie you write, direct, star in, and watch on repeat. And the cruelest part? You think you're preparing yourself. You think by imagining the worst, you're somehow protecting yourself from it. But you're not. You're torturing yourself in advance, guaranteeing that even if the disaster never comes, you've already lived through the pain of it. How much of what you worried about last year happened? Be honest. Maybe 10%? 20%? And of that small percentage that did happen, did your worry prevent it? Did your anxiety make it easier to handle? Or did you end up dealing with it in the moment anyway? Meaning you suffered twice, once in anticipation and once in reality. In 2026, you're going to break this pattern, not because worry is morally wrong, but because it's useless and emotionally devastating. Every minute you spend rehearsing disaster is a minute you could spend preparing for success. Every hour you invest in worst-case scenarios is an hour you could invest in best-case preparations. The energy is the same. The choice of where to direct it? Yours.
The ancient philosophers understood suffering intimately. Epictetus was a slave who became crippled. Marcus Aurelius ruled during a plague that killed millions. Seneca was forced to commit suicide by a tyrant. They knew suffering, but they also understood something you need to learn. Suffering is inevitable, but the suffering you add to suffering through worry is optional. There's a difference between preparation and disaster rehearsal. Preparation says, I'll save money in case of emergency. Disaster rehearsal says, I'll lose my job, then my house, then I'll end up alone and broken. Preparation is practical. Disaster rehearsal is self-harm. Preparation gives you options. Disaster rehearsal gives you panic attacks. Practice realistic optimism instead. You acknowledge that challenges exist without assuming you can't handle them. You prepare for difficulties without predicting devastation. You stay grounded in reality without drowning in negativity. You accept that bad things might happen while refusing to live as if they already have. What changes when you stop rehearsing disaster? Everything. Your nervous system calms down. Your creativity returns. Your energy comes back. Your relationships improve because you're present instead of mentally practicing breakup speeches. Your work improves because you're focused on doing it well instead of imagining it failing.
Your whole life improves because you're finally living it instead of dreading it. If you're getting value from this, make sure you've hit that like button. And if you know someone who needs to hear this message, share it with them right now. Rumi understood something that your impatience keeps obscuring. Don't grieve. Anything you lose comes round in another form. Life operates on a timeline you can't see, orchestrating connections and opportunities in ways your limited perspective can't comprehend. What looks like a delay is often protection. What feels like rejection is often redirection. What seems like failure is often preparation. You're convinced you're behind some invisible schedule that says you should have achieved certain things by certain ages, behind your peers who seem to have it all figured out, behind the timeline you created when you were younger and didn't understand how life works. And this belief that you're behind creates more anxiety than any problem in your life. You're not late, you're not missing out, you're exactly where you need to be, learning exactly what you need to learn. Think about the best things that ever happened to you, the ones you're most grateful for now. How many of them happened on your timeline? How many came when you demanded they come? Probably none. They came when they came. And looking back, you can see why the timing was perfect, even though it felt torturous while you were waiting.
That relationship that didn't work out cleared the path for the one that did. That job you didn't get prevented you from being in the wrong place. That delay gave you skills you didn't know you'd need. In 2026, practice something the ancient philosophers called patient urgency. Work with intensity while trusting the process. Give your absolute best effort while releasing attachment to when results appear. Plant seeds with dedication while understanding that you don't control the seasons. Be both committed and calm, both ambitious and accepting. The Tao teaches that nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Look at a tree. Does it stress about growing? Does it worry that it's not tall enough, fast enough? Does it compare itself to other trees? No, it grows at its own pace, in its own time, responding to conditions it can't control. And eventually, it becomes exactly what it was meant to be. You're no different. You're unfolding. The only thing your worry does is make the unfolding painful. Your impatience is rooted in fear. Fear that if it doesn't happen now, it won't happen at all. Fear that you're running out of time. Fear that everyone else is ahead and you're falling behind. But these fears are lies. Time isn't running out. It's accumulating. Every experience, every setback, every detour is adding to who you're becoming. Nothing is wasted. Nothing is lost. Everything is preparing you for what's coming.
Things come together when all the necessary elements align. Not your readiness alone, but circumstances, other people's journeys, market conditions, opportunities, resources. You might be ready before all the other pieces are in place. That doesn't mean you're being punished. It means you get to use that time to become even more ready, to develop even more capacity for what's coming. When you stop fighting the timing and start trusting it, something magical happens. The anxiety drains away, not because your circumstances change, but because your relationship with your circumstances changes. You're no longer at war with reality. You're dancing with it. You're no longer demanding that life conform to your schedule. You're discovering the freedom in flowing with life's schedule. This doesn't mean you become passive. You still set goals, you still take action, you still move forward, but you do it without the desperate energy of someone who believes they're running out of time. You do it with the confident energy of someone who knows that effort is required, but timing is provided. You work hard and let go hard. You push and you trust. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his private journal, "I have often wondered how it is that every man loves himself more than all the rest of men, but yet sets less value on his own opinion of himself than on the opinion of others."
You're exhausted because you're trying to be everyone's version of successful instead of your own. You're anxious because you're managing 1,000 imaginary audiences in your head, wondering what they think, what they expect, whether they approve. Other people's opinions of you? None of your business. Their opinions are based on their lens, their wounds, their limitations, their projections. Someone who's never taken a risk will judge your courage as recklessness. Someone who's never pursued their dreams will call your ambition foolishness. Someone who's settled will criticize your refusal to settle. Their opinion says everything about them and nothing about you. When you stop performing for approval, you start performing from purpose. When you stop seeking validation, you start seeking truth. When you stop managing everyone's perception, you start living your life. And the less you care about what people think, the more magnetic you become. Authenticity is rare. Confidence that doesn't need constant reinforcement, attractive. People who know who they are inspire people who are still searching. Marcus Aurelius also taught, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way."
Right now, you're looking at obstacles in your path as evidence you're on the wrong path. You see resistance and assume it means stop. You encounter difficulty and interpret it as a sign this isn't meant for you. But what if you have it backwards? What if the obstacle isn't blocking your path, but creating it? What if the thing you think is stopping you is building you? Every person you admire, every success story you respect, every achievement you aspire to has obstacles at its core. Not despite the obstacles, but because of them. The obstacle forged the strength. The difficulty developed the skill. The resistance built the resilience. Your biggest obstacle right now, that specific obstacle is exactly what you need to develop the quality required for your next level. The financial pressure is teaching you resourcefulness you'll need as an entrepreneur. The relationship challenge is teaching you boundaries you'll need for healthy love. The career setback is teaching you resilience you'll need for real success. And finally, Thich Nhat Hanh taught, "The present moment is the only moment available to us, and it is the door to all moments." You've been standing at that door, staring through the keyhole at imagined futures, missing the fact that the door already opened. The life you want is happening right now, obscured only by your absence from it.
You're physically here, but mentally everywhere else. In conversations, you're rehearsing what you'll say next instead of listening. At work, you're worried about future projects instead of excelling at current tasks. With loved ones, you're on your phone instead of making memories. You're so busy living in your head that you're missing your life. In 2026, everything changes when you come home to the present moment. The present moment is the only place where peace exists, the only place where joy exists, the only place where power exists. Past is memory, future is imagination. This moment, this is real. This is where your life happens. Practice mindful monotasking. Do one thing at a time with your full attention. When you eat, eat. When you walk, walk. When you talk to someone, talk to them. When you work, work. Full presence. When you practice radical presence, anxiety decreases dramatically. Anxiety lives in the future, but when you're fully here, fully now, there's nothing to be anxious about. This moment right now, almost always okay. Your performance improves in every area because presence equals excellence. You can't do your best work while mentally elsewhere. You can't build deep relationships while emotionally absent.
And you start noticing beauty you've been missing. The way light hits the wall, the warmth of your coffee cup, the sound of rain, the smile of a stranger. Thousands of small miracles happening every day that you've been too busy projecting into the future to notice. Life isn't waiting to get good. It's good now. You're not present enough to see it. You've received keys that ancient philosophers used to unlock peace in the middle of chaos, power in the face of uncertainty, and purpose despite obstacles. But what separates people who transform from people who consume information? Application. You can know all 7 principles perfectly and still live in worry if you don't practice them daily. 2026 is going to work out for you, not because the universe suddenly removes all challenges, but because you changed your relationship with challenges. You learned to distinguish concern from worry. You made peace with uncertainty. You stopped rehearsing disasters. You trust timing. You released the need for validation. You transform obstacles. You practice presence. The ancient philosophers weren't special. They were willing to practice these principles until they became reflexes. They trained their minds the way athletes train their bodies, with consistency, with discipline, with commitment.
That's your invitation for this year. Not to be perfect, but to be practicing. Not to never worry, but to catch yourself worrying and choose differently. Everything you've been worried about, everything keeping you up at night, everything making you feel like you're falling behind, it all shifts when you shift. The circumstances don't have to change for your experience to transform. That's the radical promise of ancient philosophy. That's the gift available to you right now. When you catch yourself worrying, pause. Ask yourself, is this concern prompting action, or is this worry keeping me in reaction? If concern, act. If worry, release. When uncertainty rises, remind yourself, uncertainty means anything is possible, including the miracle I've been praying for. When you start rehearsing disaster, stop mid-sentence. Redirect that creative energy towards solutions, towards gratitude, towards the present moment. When impatience strikes, say, I'm exactly where I need to be, learning what I need to learn. When you seek approval, ask, am I doing this because it's true to me, or because I want applause? When obstacles appear, ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is this building?
When your mind wanders to past or future, anchor yourself. Right now, I am breathing. Right now, I am safe. Right now, I am here. These aren't ideas. These are practices. Daily practices that will rewire your relationship with worry, with time, with yourself. Watch how everything starts working out in 2026 when you stop worrying. Not because problems disappear, but because you finally become someone who doesn't need them to. Someone who can handle uncertainty. Someone who can transform obstacles. Someone who can be at peace, even in the storm. That person isn't someone you need to become. That person is who you already are underneath all the worry. This year, you're finally going to remember. If this message resonated with your soul, smash that like button right now. Comment below with "I am at peace" so I know this reached you. And don't go anywhere, because I've got another powerful video for you on the screen right now about 9 mental shifts that make you untouchable. Click that video to keep this momentum going. Your transformation continues now.